I once spent 45 minutes lying in bed, replaying a conversation that lasted maybe 90 seconds. 45 minutes. What I said, what they said, what I should have said, what they probably meant, whether my tone was off, whether I came across wrong, whether they noticed. I ran that 90-second conversation through every possible angle. Zoomed in on a single sentence, rewound a facial expression, let it play, hit pause, zoomed in again, and at no point during that 45 minutes did I actually do anything about it. I didn't text the person, I didn't clarify anything, I didn't resolve anything. I just watched. And that's when it hit me. I wasn't thinking. I was surveillance. Welcome back to Uplifted Living. I'm Nick Gilbert. Today's episode is about the difference between thinking and watching. Because most of what we call overthinking isn't thinking at all. It's surveillance. Here's what I mean. A surveillance camera doesn't make decisions. It doesn't intervene. It doesn't solve problems. It just records, plays back, zooms in, over and over. It watches you make the same mistake from 17 different angles and never once says, hey, maybe we should try something different here. That is not problem solving. That's not reflection. That's a security guard who fell asleep at the desk while the footage kept rolling. Here's where it gets strange. We all know what this feels like, and we all keep doing it anyway. Now, I'm not going to tell you to just stop overthinking. If someone could just stop, they would have stopped. Nobody is overthinking because they haven't been told not to yet. But what I do want to give you are 3 ways to recognize when you're watching instead of thinking, and what to actually do when you catch yourself. A few years ago, I was in a cycle I couldn't see. I was preparing for a major certification exam, something I've been working toward for years. I had failed it before, multiple times actually, and each time I failed, the stakes got higher. The voice got louder. I'd study for hours, and at the end of the session, I couldn't tell you what I'd actually learned. I just knew I'd been thinking about it all day. But that's the thing. I wasn't thinking about the material. I was thinking about failing, about what it meant if I failed again, about what people would think, about whether I was even capable of passing it at all. I'd sit down to study and immediately start running through every previous failure. What I did wrong, what I should have done, whether I was even wired for this. I told myself I was being thorough, that I was preparing, that I was going over the material. I was watching security footage. The exam didn't even happen yet, and I was already watching the replay. Here's something I've noticed about overthinking and anxiety. The surveillance camera doesn't just replay the past. It pre-records the future too. It runs simulations. It creates scenes that haven't happened yet and treats them like they already did. I broke down on my kitchen floor one night. Not because I'd failed the exam again. I hadn't even taken it yet. I broke down because I'd already lived through failing it about 300 times in my head. And each time, it felt real. Each time, the camera showed me the same thing. You're not ready. You're not good enough. This is going to end the same way. Eventually, I did pass. A few years later, actually. But here's what changed. I stopped watching the footage and started studying the material. That sounds simple. It wasn't. I had learned to notice when the camera was on. So let me give you 3 anchors for that, because noticing the camera is the whole thing. The first anchor is this. When you catch yourself in a loop, ask whether you're watching past footage or a future simulation. Most overthinking falls into one of two categories. Either you're replaying something that already happened, the conversation, the mistake, the thing you should have said, or you're pre-living something that hasn't happened yet. The worst case scenario, the conversation that might go wrong, the thing you're afraid you'll mess up. That's it. Past footage or future simulation. There is no third category. And here's why this matters. When you can name which feed you're watching, you've already started to separate yourself from the footage. You're no longer inside of the loop. You're observing the loop. The camera is not you. The camera is just the camera. The footage is just footage. You are the person who can look away. I want you to think about the last time you got stuck in your head. Maybe it was this morning. Maybe it's right now. What were you watching? Were you rewinding something that already happened? A text, a meeting, a thing you said 3 weeks ago that still makes you cringe? Or were you fast forwarding to something that hasn't happened yet? A conversation you're dreading, a decision you're afraid to make. Neither one is happening right now. The past one is over. The future one hasn't arrived yet. The only thing that's real in this moment is that you're watching a screen, and you can turn it off. Now, I'm not saying that's easy, but before you can turn anything off, you have to know it's on. Most of us have been running the feed for so long that we don't even notice the hum of the camera anymore. It's just background noise. It's just how we think. But it's not thinking, it's watching. The second anchor is this. The camera has one job: record everything. The guard has a different job: decide what's worth watching. Most of us live like the camera. We record everything. Every mistake, every awkward moment, every time we came up short. The archive is massive. And we treat all of it as equally important. Equal weight, equal significance, equal airtime. But here's something that security professionals understand. Not every frame in the footage matters. Most of it is nothing. Hours and hours of nothing. An empty hallway, a light flickering, a door that never opens. The guard doesn't watch all of it. The guard fast forwards. The guard knows what to look for. The guard has a job to do that the camera doesn't. You need to become the guard. Here's what this looks like practically. When you notice the feed is running, past or future, ask yourself one question. Is this footage or is this information? Footage is just replay. It has no new data. You've seen it before. Running it again won't reveal anything you missed the first 90 times. Information is different. Information has something new, something you genuinely didn't notice, something actionable. 9 times out of 10, what you're watching is footage. You're not learning anything. You're just letting the tape roll. And I know it feels like you're processing. It feels productive. You're thinking about it after all. But let me ask you something. When was the last time a 45-minute replay of something you couldn't change actually helped you? It doesn't help. It just exhausts you. And the exhaustion feels like work. So you assume you must be doing something useful. You're not. You're tired from watching a screen. So here's the second anchor in practice. Catch the feed. Ask, footage or information? If it's footage, and it almost always is, you have permission to stop watching, to turn it off. Not because you're supposed to, and not because someone told you to stop overthinking, but because the footage isn't telling you anything new, and your time is worth more than a rerun. This last one is where the camera finally powers down. You can't just turn the feed off. You have to replace it with something. This is where most overthinking advice falls apart. People tell you to stop, distract yourself, think about something else, go for a walk, meditate. Those can work temporarily. But the feed comes back because the feed has a purpose. It's trying to solve something. It's trying to keep you safe. The camera isn't malicious. It's just stuck. It thinks if it runs the tape enough times, it'll find the thing it missed, the solution, the warning sign, the way out. So when you just try to turn it off, the camera interprets that as you abandoning the mission. It gets louder, more urgent. No, wait, I haven't finished analyzing this yet. I'm almost there. Just one more pass. You have to give it something else to watch. Here's what this looks like. When you catch yourself in the loop, past footage or future simulation, doesn't matter, and you've recognized it's just footage, not information, here's what you do. You ask yourself, what's one thing I can actually do right now? Not solve the whole problem, not fix the thing you're replaying, and not guarantee the thing you're anxious about won't happen. Just one thing. That's it. The conversation you keep replaying? Send the text, clarify, or decide it doesn't need clarifying and close the file. Either one is an action. The camera can't act, only you can. The future scenario that terrifies you? Identify one step you can take today that makes it slightly less likely or slightly more manageable. Not the whole plan, just one step. Here's why this works in a way that just stop overthinking about it doesn't. The camera is trying to solve a problem. When you take even a small action, you're telling the camera, I've got this. You can stand down. You're not ignoring the signal, you're answering it. And once you've done the one thing, actually done it, the feed has less power. It might not shut off completely, but it drops from a 9 to maybe a 6 because you've demonstrated that you're not just watching, you're responding. This is how you stop overthinking without trying to stop overthinking. Those are the 3 anchors. Identify the feed, past or future, name it. Become the guard, footage or information. Decide, and then replace the feed. One action, one step, done. Keep them. Let me turn the camera off for a second and just say this. If you've been running the feed for years, not weeks, not months, years, I want you to hear something. The fact that you overthink doesn't mean you're broken. It means you care. It means you're conscientious. It means you've been trying to solve something, protect something, get it right. You're not weak for this. You're not incapable. You've just been doing the wrong job. You've been the camera when you're supposed to be the guard. And I know there's a part of you that believes if you stop watching, something bad will happen. That the overthinking is what's keeping you safe. That if you let your guard down, you'll miss something, screw something up, get blindsided. But let me ask you this. How many times has the 45-minute replay actually prevented a problem? And how many times has it just stolen 45 minutes from your life? The camera doesn't protect you. It just watches. You are the one who protects you. And you do that by acting, not by replaying. I spent years believing that my overthinking was a sign of depth, that it meant I was thorough, careful, thoughtful. And maybe some of that was true, but mostly it was a security camera pointed at an empty hallway. Hours of nothing. and I was exhausted from watching it. The feed is not you. The footage is not you. You are not the camera. You're the one who can look away. Thank you for being here this week. If today's episode gave you a new way to see your own thought loops, or if you know someone who's been stuck in front of a screen they can't seem to turn off, send this to them. Sometimes the thing someone needs is just the right metaphor at the right time. Follow the show wherever you listen. New episodes every 2 weeks. Small shifts, real lift. Take care of yourself, actually.